Welcome back to the Out of the Rough podcast presented by We Know Fantasy. As always, my name is Nate with We Know Fantasy, and joining me as always is my coach Jake. Jake, before I do kick it over to you, this is the 100th episode.
Oh
I
wow.
guess the revamp version. Out of the Rough has been in existence since 2019, but since I brought it back, what is this, over 2 years ago now? Roughly. This is the 100th episode, and I had all the intention in the world, Jake, of like going back and like tallying up how many hours we spent together on the podcast, minute wise. Obviously, didn't happen. I think you joined somewhere around the 20 mark, give or take 20, mid 20s. I think it was
Yep.
24th episode you joined in. So roughly 76 of these things together. At this point, hundreds of hours of podcasting,
Yep.
not only the research, everything to go into it, but yeah, 100 episodes of Out of the Rough podcast. Great to be here and continuing to do this podcast each and every week for you. So, yeah, Jake, how are we doing today?
We're doing good. Congratulations to us on that feat, and thank you all for listening and
Yeah,
supporting us throughout this. We couldn't do it without you, so that's important to note. But pretty good. I didn't watch a single minute of golf this weekend. It was pretty much a cleanse for me between both the DP World Tour and the PGA Tour. Had absolutely no interest in watching the Zurich. I put in two like quote unquote like just entertainment bets. Never really scared the top of the board. DP World Tour, I was definitely in the hunt on Sunday, but by the time I woke up, I was already out of it. But uh, that's to your success, Nate. Very good call on Peng. I believe you got him at 50 to 1. He just he won by what, five? By the at the end of it or something like that. I think he was
I
17
forget.
under and
Yeah,
the
somewhere
next
around
guy
there.
was 12. So uh, relatively sweat free. Definitely a good one to have. I'll let you have the spotlight there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, I didn't watch much golf or any golf this weekend because the Hanen Classic was not televised, so there was no opportunity to watch the DP World Tour, which I would have preferred. I did check out some of the Chevron Championship, the LPGA Major, released an article for that. Like you, I did not sniff the top of the board whatsoever. My card was atrocious there. Did obviously I don't watch much of Live. I do bet it if for you plug the Discord if you're ever looking for a card there. But yeah, the Zurich Classic, no interest to myself in watching that either. Had the Japanese duo give me a bit of a scare going into Sunday, but then they went flat out of the first three holes and got themselves out of it. But going back to the DP World Tour, Penge, first career victory. I think it was 45 to 1 I had him at. Either way, four-man card, always great to get something like that. He was my shortest odds at 45 to 1. I woke up at telling Jake before the podcast, woke up at 3:30. My dog needed to go outside. I had to be up at like 4:30 that day anyways for a soccer tournament. Kicked the dog outside. I was like, better check the phone since it's not being, televised anywhere. And he was up by one or two at that point with three or four holes to go. So I did a little research digging back into how, he got there. I mean, he had the share of the lead going into the day, so it wasn't like absolutely crazy. But then Sean Crocker had a, fantastic round going, started the back nine like birdie, eagle, had the lead. Penge was hanging in there. Then back to back bogeys by Crocker. Penge went three birdies in a row, really took that by storm. And again, it was one of those events where sweating a 45 to 1 ticket, just refreshing the leaderboard because there was no television of this event. But yeah, a good one to have, the DP World Tour. I'm finally in the green of the DP World Tour, which if you bet the DP World Tour as an outright better, especially, you know how difficult that is to be. I know I'm barely in the green, but hey, I'm in the green about, what are we, probably halfway through the season at this point, if not a little bit longer. So always good to be there with Ho Tong Lee winning back the guitar as well. But yeah, that was a good weekend there. A lot of golf going on. Corn Ferry Tour even happened and all of
Yep.
that. And again, if you're ever looking for a breakdown of any event out there, we have it on weknowfantasy.com. I know I'm skipping a few things here, Jake, but we have Craig with the LPGA. We have All Tour Golf by Andrew, the Corn Ferry Tour, Challenge Tour, myself, and Jake with the PGA Tour, DP World Tour. My live card goes on the Discord. All of that, guys. We have you covered here at We Know Fantasy, and especially here on this podcast. Again, back to 100 episodes each and every week talking golf. Reiterating what Jake said, just thank you guys for ever tuning into this podcast. I started this version of the podcast back in 2023 when I, started having a good run of form there and people were kind of asking for it. So I put it out there and then Jake came along the way. It's been it's been fantastic. I'm here for hundreds more, Jake. Let's just keep
Yeah.
building this thing and going from there. But where can people find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at DJ Freeman on Twitter. I post my outright cards there, but if you're looking for matchup plays, tennis information, golf information, NASCAR information, now soccer information or football, wherever uh, you call that sport, depending on where you're located. Be sure to check out the Discord, completely free to join. Once you're in there, you have access to everything. No hidden paywalls. No, oh, you're just in the general chat. If you want to pay to get into these other ones, you can. None of that whatsoever. Reach out to Nate or myself. We can get you the link to join in there. Be as active or as inactive as you want. Just listen to just the conversations that happen in there. A lot of them are really, really educational. Whether it be, someone brings up an idea about a betting theory or a player or something like that. Two people, even arguments, they're very constructive. People don't go after each other. We really just go after the facts and try to get to the other side so that at the end of the day, we all become better gamblers, more knowledgeable in the sport, and just there's nothing that we would want more than for everyone to be on the same bet and for it to win. So, I mean, we got to start doing that, Nate. I feel like we've hit winners back and forth. We haven't had a collab win in a while, but hopefully this week, I know we have some crossover. I think that we could definitely get it done.
I think it was probably Davis Thompson, the John Deere Classic, last time we had some crossover victories on the podcast, Jake. So it's been a
Yeah.
while. Let's do it this week. And alluding back to the soccer thing, alluding to the United States men's national team, it's called soccer, right? So yeah, be sure to check out the Discord, all sports. If you want to add a channel for cricket or badminton, if you're into that, whatever you want to do, just let us know. We're here to open it up to anyone and everyone. It's community in there from top to bottom, professional bettors, amateurs, guys who just view it. They don't even, comment. We want everyone to get in there and be active as much as you want to be or not. But yeah, just a great tool to have your fingertips. So be sure to check that out. Find myself, Nate, on Twitter at WKF Nate. Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Visit WeKnowFantasy.com for some more fantasy sports content for baseball, basketball, football, NASCAR, golf. I think we have you covered. Said that really fast for whatever reason. Just kind of happened. On there, my full out of the rough golf betting article series, PGA Tour, DP World Tour, LPGA Majors each and every week, PGA Tour DFS breakdown on there as well. Yeah, a lot of stuff on there. Search game putting per grass type, the one and done tracked on there, the NASCAR one and done, a ton of great stuff. So be sure to check that out as well. If you're looking to join our free weekly newsletter as well, another free tool to have at your fingertips, be sure to hit me up with a good quality email on Twitter or Discord, wherever you want to hit me up with that. Add you in there completely free, just a compilation of all of our offerings each and every week with some exclusive placement chart content on that newsletter as well. All right. That's all behind us, Jake. Let's move on here. I wish we had a better tournament for the 100th episode than
Yeah.
this one. This is one of my least favorite tournaments the PGA Tour schedule each and every season, but it's just how it happened. It fell this way. Probably my fault for taking a few months there after surgery in the fall off, but either way, here we are. The CJ Cup Byron Nelson held at TPC Craig Ranch. I think it was 2021 where the event moved to this golf course. It's been in existence since 1944, the event that is. And the first edition in 1944 was won by legendary golfer Byron Nelson. Since 1968, it was renamed the Byron Nelson Golf Classic, and since it has shared a namesake with Nelson along the way. Craig Ranch itself was established 20 years ago, I believe, somewhere around there, with the sole intention to host this event. Like, this is why this golf course was established. The event also serves as the PGA Tour's leading fundraiser for charities, raising over $190 million to date for Momentous Institute, which is established by the Salesmanship Club of Dallas to help support the mental health of children, families, and communities. So a good cause along the way here. The field this week, of course, sitting in center of this jam-packed portion of the PGA Tour schedule. Last 7 weeks, we've seen two majors, well, including the PGA here in a few weeks, two majors, two signature events. So Zurich Classic last week, natural bye week, and this week as well, natural bye week for most, with signature event Truist Championship next week and then the PGA Championship in 2 weeks' time. But we do get to see Scotty Scheffler. A lot of the Texas natives will be in attendance this week. Again, just because they're there, so why not go make some money and play some golf along the way? World number one, Scotty Scheffler, of course, leading the field, joined by other Texas natives such as Jordan Spieth, Tom Kim, and Will Zalatoris. I shouldn't say natives, but residents, right? Tom Kim is
Yeah.
not from Texas, naturally. Other notable names teamed up this week include Sungjae Im, Benny Han, Keith Mitchell, Siwoo Kim, and Sam Burns. Taylor Pendrith, defending champion, held off Ben Coles by a stroke a season ago to claim his maiden PGA Tour victory. Other winners of the event teaming up this week include Sung Kang in 2019. That is it. So only two defending champions or two former champions of the event playing this week. So TPC Craig Ranch plays at the par 72 now at 7,569 yards after a slight renovation. Again, dating back to uh, excuse me, this course was funded by McKinney businessman David Craig, who spent $30 million in 2024 or 2004 to develop a golf course that one day would host the Byron Nelson tournament. He achieved that 4 years ago. He brought in golf legend Tom Weiskopf to design the track. It is known as one of the easiest golf courses on the entire PGA Tour schedule. The last three events here were won by Pendrith at minus 23, Jason Day at minus 23 in 2023, and KH Lee at minus 26 in 2022. Rowlett's Creek serves as one of the only defenses that this course has to offer as it winds its way through it. Uh, coming in play in 14 holes, I say coming in play lightly because unless a drive is really bad, it really is not much of a factor along the way. And again, we're in Texas, so Texas wins is the other line of defense this golf course has to offer. If the wind's down, this is a very, very low scoring affair here. The 17th hole at TPC Craig Ranch was revamped prior to the 2024 playing. That now features bleachers behind the green, along with 41 hospitality units that can now host 6,000 spectators. This is going along with a lot of the TPC tracks you see along the way, TPC Scottsdale, TPC Twin Rivers, that host a stadium-esque atmosphere along the way. Prior to this year's installment, 6 tee boxes were changed, adding roughly 100 yards to the golf course. Additionally, the once 3.25-inch ryegrass rough was replaced with 2.5-inch Bermuda grass. Additionally, the Zoysia fairways were changed to ryegrass. Distance off the tee will give those bombers a slight advantage this week. The average driving distance here at TPC Craig Ranch over the last 5 seasons has been about 300 yards. Accuracy off the tee isn't much of a concern here. As I mentioned with Rowlett's Creek, really not coming in play, as though it is physically there. It's really hard to actually get your ball into that creek. Long irons are one of the most important things here, however, as almost 35% of approach shots will come from 200 plus yards. Despite the importance of long iron play, hitting the green isn't much of a challenge. Green regulation percentage here, too, is over the PGA Tour average at roughly 70%. If greens are missed, golfers could be in a bit of trouble, though, as the greens are surrounded by bunkers. Over the last 3 years, golfers who have finished in the top 5 have more than doubled the field and sand save percentages. This goes to show how difficult these bunkers can be around the greens. The 3 par 5s this week play at an average of a modest 558 yards. Hole 18 plays as the longest. The par 5s at 569. So there's plenty of scoring opportunities on those par 5s, and they must be taken advantage of this week. An all relatively bland cookie cutter golf course that repeats hole after hole. Not anything exciting here whatsoever. Following the conclusion of this event, though, the course will be undergoing a $15 million renovation spearheaded by golf legend Lanny Watkins. The renovation will see a complete overhaul of the course's turf from tee to green, adding distance, and a completely new irrigation system. Although this is the last year that it is scheduled to be played on the PGA Tour, they could re-up that, but it is my belief that they will be going to the new PGA Tour headquarter facility for this event in next year. Jake, anything to add here before we move forward?
No, I think you covered it mostly. The only thing I would add here is that these greens don't have crazy undulations or anything, so like it's a straight up birdie fest. If you're on the green, you can sink putts, it's going to be your week. So, yeah, and also, I mean, we saw Brian Campbell win in Mexico, but I think that this is a really similar course to that where Brian Campbell might have won, but if you look at that leaderboard, it was surrounded by bombers who was draining putts. So that is pretty much the key that I took for this week. But then again, Brian Campbell did win the Mexico Open, so who the hell knows?
Yeah, who knows? We talked about this before the podcast, Jake. It is a South Korean's paradise as well as
Yeah,
this, former champions here littered with them, top fives, top tens, left and right. It's definitely an interesting translation between South Korean golf and this event, even though it doesn't fit South Korean golf, right? We don't think of them as super low scoring type of guys, but KH Lee, twice a victor here in back-to-back seasons in 2022 and 2023, or 2021 and 2022, excuse me. So it's could be anyone's affair. We'll see what happens this week. I mean, Jason Day in 2023, he's not really a birdie fest guy, especially at this part of his career. And Taylor Pendrith, I guess, could fit that mold a bit with a long off the tee and the strong putter, as you talked about. But yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll be going that way for most of my picks as well. Worked out for me with Penge last week and Hainan, so hopefully it
yeah,
translates here for me this week as well.
exactly.
All right, Jake. I know we both have 6 guys to talk about, a lot of long shots along the way. So with that being said, with the same number this week, Jake, let's kick this one off.
Yeah, I'm kicking it off with I think we're on this guy together. I got Jaeger. I haven't put this in yet, but I'm going to put him in right after this pod. I think the best number right now is 40. You might have gotten to 45 or 50. Um, Again, he just profiles so well for this golf course, and it can't be ignored. He's got the distance off the tee. He's got great long irons, and he's been spiking with his irons as of recent. We know that he can get really hot with the putter. He's been teetering around even, so it's really going to rely on if he can get that putter in the green, but he also has really good course history here. A T38 back in 2022, T11 in 2023, and then a T20 last year, consistently bombing the ball off the tee. He's actually lost on approach his last two appearances here, which is crazy to think about. And also with the putter in two of his three, if he pieces it together, it would not surprise me at all. I think he's going to be pretty heavily tipped, but he also won last year at the Texas Children's Houston Open. I nailed that name, Nate, but he's won in Texas before as recently as last season. So I think it's Jaeger's week if he can get the putter rolling.
Yeah, right there with you. 45 to 1's where I grabbed him. You talked about everything you need at this golf course. And one thing he's fantastic right now, 19th in sand safe percentages. So if he is to find some of those greenside bunkers, he's elite of getting out of the sand this season. 27th in birdie or better. He's 32nd on approach, 34th putting, 49th tee to green, 69th in driving distance. So he checks every box. You mentioned it, won in Texas a season ago. Good course history. He's in good form as well. 32nd RPC Heritage, 52nd Masters, 11th at Texas Children's Houston Open, 36th at the Valspar, and 20th at the Players. Checking every box along the way. That's where I'm starting my card as well, Jake.
Yeah, and just one more thing to note, he finished T6 in Mexico, and that was with a Sunday 71. If he had played even some remotely competent golf, he probably would have won in Mexico, which is a great comp course in my opinion here.
Yeah, that event could have been won by anyone if that leaderboard to start the Sunday was jam packed and then just no one took advantage of it. So
Yeah.
interesting event there. But yeah, I guess I'll just kick my next guy off here, Jake. I'm going with another Jake. I'm going Jake Knapp here. Jake Knapp, 66 to 1's where I have him here. Third last week at the Zurich Classic of New Orleans with partner Frankie capping the third. Beyond that, mixed bag results. Missed the cut the Valero, but 27th in Texas Children's Houston Open. Missed the cut the Valspar, but 12th at the Players. And sixth the Continent Classic. Placed eighth here a season ago as well in his lone appearance. He's currently 14th on tour in birdie or better, 17th in par fives, 21st in putting, 23rd in approximate hole for 200 plus yards, 34th in average driving distance, 62nd on approach. So right there, good long irons, get birdies in a hurry, plays the par fives extremely well, competent putter, everything you really do at this golf course. Slightly average in sand saves as well. Love what Jake Knapp brings to the table. We know that he can get birdies in a hurry. He does get himself in a lot of mistakes, though, which could be the concern. But in a golf course like this, it's pretty wide open. I think that'll alleviate some of the, spraying off the tee as Jake Knapp is known to do. I think this could be a good fit for him as well.
Yeah, I think the risk on Jake Knapp is plenty baked into a 66 to 1. I think there's a lot of value there because if he doesn't find himself in trouble, he's going to be playing really well and contending to win this tournament. Also a winner in Mexico last year, so I really like the
There we
shout
go.
there in some great form. If that 66 is still out there, I might have to consider adding. I doubt it is, but if I can get anywhere 60 plus, I'll take it and ride with you, Nate.
Yeah, he's definitely a community favorite for whatever
Yeah.
reason, right? Even before his win in Mexico, he just seemed to be on everyone's cards left and right. Just kind of one of those polarizing figures that the betting community loves to get behind. I know he's gonna be pretty popular this week, but the 66 to 1 for a guy who gets birdies in a hurry and plays his golf course relatively strongly, with a strong performance a season ago and good course comp at Mexico as well.
Yep.
All right, Jake, who's your next one?
Yeah, the next guy I want to talk about here, I'm just going to preface with I bet this guy recently a couple weeks ago, and it's just as disgusting as it was a couple weeks ago. It's Alejandro Tosti at 90 to 1. That was at the Corrales Punta Open where he actually backdoored at T2. He had a chance, but with a Sunday 68, but I hate this guy, Nate. I don't know why I
We all
keep
do.
betting him. He's just not a good guy, but he's like for such a small guy in person, he nukes the ball off the tee. I believe he's top 10 in driving distance on the PGA Tour, possibly top 5, but he's been playing some awesome golf. The irons have been really helping him out there. He missed the cut at the Zurich last week, which team event, don't really care. I'm happy to throw that one out the door more so than I normally would be happy to throw out a recent bad round. But Corrales Punta Cana a T2, Valero Texas Open T12, and a Texas Children's Houston Open a T5. So peppering the top of the leaderboards, a course that could be really good for Toasty at a big number if he could drain some putts. Missed the cut here last year, not putting too much weight into that because he's been playing some really good golf. This is more of a form bet with possible course form or course fit. So I'm taking my chance at 90 to 1, but if it's between another guy that I have an outright on and him, I hope this guy freaking loses because I can't stand him.
Yeah, he is definitely the definition of polarizing figure. He
Yeah.
is, take like Terrell Hatton on the golf course, just throwing tantrums, throwing fits left and right, and yelling around the golf course. But yeah, I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me. This is completely speculation. But when it comes to like final round scoring, he may be like the best on the PGA Tour because his final rounds have been fantastic left and right. You're talking about backdooring top fives left and right in his last few starts. I can see it happening.
Yeah.
As much as we don't want to see it happening, if you have a 90 to 1 ticket in your hand, I'm sure you'd love to see it happen. But
Yeah.
along the way, if you have, like you said, if you have two 90 to 1s and you can cheer against them, so be it. But yeah, I mean, it's a good course fit, great form along the way. So uh, can't fault you on doing that. As long as he cashes you tickets and makes you some money along the way, we can get over a little bit of arrogance and whatnot on the golf course.
Yep.
All right, next play for me is a 70 to 1. Ryan Gerard, a guy I've been on a bit as of late. And I mean, that's for good reason. Red hot as of late. 12th at the Zurich last week with teammate Danny Walker, 27th at the RPC Heritage. What really excites me about Gerard, though, is his recent form in Texas, second at the Valero Texas Open, and ninth at the Texas Children's Houston Open as well. Something about Texas golf clicks for him. He's played this event just once prior, missing the cut in 2023. Throw that out the window. Playing the best golf of his career at this point right now, anyhow. Currently 15th on tour in putting. He's 28th on approach, 33rd in scrambling, 43rd tee to green, 47th bogey avoidance. He's 48th birdie or better, 51st out of the sand, 63rd approximate hole for 200 plus, 80th average driving distance. Checks those boxes left and right. Everything we've already talked about. Very strong putter, good tee to green, strong approach play with some plus distance off the tee. Checking those boxes left and right. Strong form as well. 70 to 1, Ryan Gerard. It's coming. A win for Ryan Gerard's coming, and I think this could be the week.
Yeah, you just took the words out of my Nate. Oh my God, the words out of my mouth, Nate. The win is coming, right? He spikes all over the place, has all these top five or top 10 finishes, top 20 finishes all season long. He's been playing the best golf of his career. It just needs to come together for him one week. And the best part about him is that he's shown that he could spike in every single category, like not an insignificant amount, over a stroke and a half per round in each category throughout the season. He just needs to piece it together. In a weak field event, this could be the time. Honestly, I'm shocked to see him at 70. I would have expected him closer to 50.
Yeah, for sure. That was the same thing. Saw him at 70, scooped it right up. Even 50 at this point with how he's playing this field, I consider 50 as well.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, who's next?
Next guy here, another like kind of gross one, but it's too hard to ignore when driving distance is in play this week. It's Chris Goddard up at 125 to 1. Another guy who just nukes the ball off the tee, top 10 in driving distance on the PGA Tour. He's put together some really good finishes as of recent, and that's the only reason why he made his way onto my betting card. A T18 at the Texas Children's Houston Open, a miscut at the Valero. Throw that one out. He had a T18 at the Corrales Punta Cana Championship and a T12 last week at the Zurich Classic in the team event. It's really backed on the driving distance. If he can get any sort of form with the putter or with the approach game, he can definitely have some success. He actually won last year. I forgot about this at the Myrtle Beach Classic, another weaker field event. But he had a T24 at this event last year where the approach held him back. So I think 125 to 1 is a big enough chance for me to take a guy who bombs the ball off the tee, which is a big check mark for me, and is in some decent form.
Yeah, I love the play, and I completely forgot he won that Myrtle Beach as well. That's coming up next week as well, along with the Truist Championship at a new location in Philadelphia, the Cricket Club. But yes, there seems to be a trend here, right? You're
Yeah.
picking up on how we're betting this golf course. Strong, plus it's off the tee with a strong putter. Checks the boxes there. Love the play as well, especially we're talking big numbers along the way here at 125, you just said.
Yep.
Love it. I have three guys 100 plus, starting with this guy, Lee Hodges, 100 to 1. Let's talk about it. Same exact build as everyone else I've bet so far in this golf event. He is third on tour in par fives. He's eighth in bogey avoidance, 19th putting and scrambling, 26th green in regulations. He's 36 birdie or better, 30th on approach, 45th tee to green, and 46 average driving distance. Now, the long irons are his weakness, 173rd and approximate hole from one or 200 plus, but everything else is there. Putting contest, he was going to be right there, top 20 there. Approach play, 38th, despite being poor on long irons. I mean, if those long irons were any significantly, even slightly better, we're talking a top 20 approach guy as well. Tee to green numbers, everything is there for Lee Hodges. He's been dealing with some injuries, some withdrawals left and right. A little concerning there, but that's baked in this 100 to 1. Typically, if he was a healthy, we're talking 70, 65, somewhere around there. So 100 to 1 for a caliber of Lee Hodges that fits his golf course rather well. I do like it. Missed the cut last week. Lazar's Classic, throw it out the window. I mean, he partnered with Jason Duffner. Come on now. Part
Yeah.
of that, missed the cut the Valero Texas Open, but did place 11th at the Texas Children's Houston Open back in Texas. Played this event just once prior, missed the cut in 2022. Again, strong show in Texas already. Fits the mold I've been betting, peppering this golf course with. So 100 to 1 Lee Hodges is my next play.
Yeah, I love the number more than the play just because I think there's a ton of value. I think he's a great golfer. The form has kind of petered out, but if you're willing to throw it out due to some injury, recent injuries, he started the season out extremely strong, and it looked like, he did have that T11 in Texas. So if he can kind of build off of that and throw the two missed cuts most recently out the door, it would not surprise me at all to see him get over the finish line here.
Yeah, plus he was off for 3 weeks to a month between those Texas events and the Zurich. So healing up, getting healthy again. Again, missed a cut last week, but again, Jason Duffner isn't the most strongest of partner to be having in a team event. So, yeah, again, just a value play, 100 to 1, big number for a guy who has won the PGA Tour, I think twice already, maybe once. I think it was John Deere Classic, maybe in 2024, somewhere around there. I could be wrong though. That's Straka year.
He won once. He won at the 3M in 2023.
3M John Deere, same event as well. But yes, he has a victor in the PGA Tour, 100 to 1. Why not?
Yep, for sure.
All right, now I lost track. I think you're up, Jake.
Yep, I am up here, and this is a really popular one, but honestly, I've been on this guy through and through. I feel like I almost deserve it because at the RBC Heritage, when this guy was 400 to 1, pretty much dead last in odds in the field, I took him, and he was almost a first round leader. It's Sammy Valimaki. He's 120 to 1 this week. The form is just incredible. Like, if I had to give one bet out to someone who's going to give me a long shot sweat this week, I'm going with Sammy Valimaki at 120 to 1. This is the best approach play we've seen this guy have in his entire career. And it's been not for a short amount of time now. It's been about 2.5, 3 months of a stroke per round on approach, which is really, really awesome to see. He's a fantastic putter. The driving distance leaves a little bit to be desired here, but it's not going to hurt him too much. He's just under tour average. The form is just too good to ignore. A fourth at the Texas Children's Houston Open, a T12 at the Valero Texas Open, and a T18 at the RBC Heritage. Missed the cut at this event last year. I don't care. This guy's playing too good of golf. I want to see him over the finish line more than just about anyone except for one person who we all know who's also in the field this week, but he's the second guy that I'm rooting for.
Yeah. I think we're all, cheering for the big Finn. It's just, I love to see guys from countries we typically would not see success out of golf. I'm sure there's been a PGA Tour victor out of Finland off the top of my head, maybe possibly, but he's one of those just loving characters in the PGA Tour, right? We love to see Sammy Valimaki pop, and he has each and every week for what seems like a better part of a month now. Yeah, you got to keep going with your guys, and at some point they'll get there.
Yeah, and per a quick Google search, there have been no Finnish golfers to win the PGA Tour. That has not been fact-checked, but that is what Google is telling me on the first hit.
Was it their AI that told you that?
Yep.
Okay. All right, my next play here, and so my next two plays, these are long shots that they don't typically fully fit my mold this week, but are long shots for a reason. And they do something specifically extremely strong that I'm taking in value this week. First one is Cam Davis, and from a quick search on Twitter, one of the most popular plays I've seen so far. 125 to 1, a huge number for a premier talent in the PGA Tour, in my opinion. I had him back at the 18 Pebble Beach at 120 to 1. Top five, I think, close there. Had a chance on the weekend. Again, it was Rory McIlroy's week, either way. But this is a bona fide birdie fest. We've talked about it time and time again. With that being said, Cam Davis is third on tour in birdie or better percentage. He's 20th in proximity the hole from 200 plus yards, 65th on approach, 68th putting, 72nd par 5, 107th average driving distance. List goes on here. 32nd last week, the Zurich Classic alongside Evans Fenson. 13th RPC Heritage, early the season, 5th at the Pebble Beach, and 18th at the American Express. A lot of bad form in between that good stretch at the Pebble Beach and American Express and what he's returned to as of late. But man, making his tournament debut this week. But if this is going to come down to a talent and a bona fide birdie fest, Cam Davis can have his hat in the ring, gets birdies in a hurry, third on the entire PGA Tour in birdie or better percentage. Really, what I looked at there at a long shot, just going off that one stat essentially. But we know this guy, this young Australian, has the tools to win on the PGA Tour. I mean, heck, he was close at Pebble Beach, really had a chance up until that back nine before Rory McIlroy took the event and ran away with it. So yes, 125 for Cam Davis, extremely popular. I'm sure that 125 is all long but gone. He's probably, the way I saw him bet, he's probably 80, 90, maybe 100 at this point. So yeah, that's my next play.
Yeah, I'm seeing one book hanging 100. So again, teetering again that 90 range. But like you said, it's one of those that if he has a lead come Sunday, it's not like you're holding a Henrik Norlander or Sammy Valimaki ticket where like you're fully clenching your fist, like please God, hold on. This guy could definitely win a golf tournament, especially of this caliber. He won 20 starts ago. Like it's not like he hasn't been in the winner's circle for a long time. He won at the Rocket Mortgage Classic last season. He almost feels like a guy that he's a merchant of courses that he should be playing well at, and this completely fits that bill. So I love the shout on Cam Davis. It doesn't surprise me at all that he's popular, and it's a huge number for a guy who's won twice on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, and again, if you're one to be scared by the tipsters chart or whatever, I mean, we saw Minwoo Lee win at 40 to 1 not too long ago by and tipped by 400 people. Like it's not
Yeah,
like, and we've seen it recently, and I think it's just because of sheer numbers of how many people he tracks now that every play is going to be pretty much one of those people that has a ton of backing. Like it's very rare now on the PGA Tour where we see, when he released his like 36 hole leaders, you see like a one person, tip just because of sheer numbers at this point. But
yep.
yeah, community wins are, I think they're more prevalent now than they have been in years past. If you're paying attention to that type of thing, again, I don't believe in, that whole, if he's the most tipped guy, he is out of it, whatever. I mean, again,
Right.
each their own, whatever. I don't believe in jinxes or anything like that, but hey, people do, so be it.
Yeah, especially a week like this where it's a lot of people have very, very similar, if not the same models, because there's a proven recipe of success. So it doesn't surprise me that a lot of people are on a lot of the same guys. Like Jaeger is going to be probably top tip guy. Another guy that I'm about to talk about next is going to be on the board for sure. There's a proven recipe for success, and we all run models, but it all has the same underlying data. So it's going to spit out when we all put the same inputs, very, very similar results. And when we see value on odds, that's what we do. But week in and week out, if you were to call up any book and be like, "What's your biggest golf liability?" It's these guys at the top of the board, like Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy, who, when you look on golf Twitter, they aren't really bet that often, and they're certainly not on the most tip charts because their odds are just too low to warrant bets for people that take this, more seriously versus your casual.
Yeah,
And that rant, yeah,
I was going to say a fair point there. We talk about it often on this podcast when it comes to the Scotty Scheffler, Roy Mac, where the casual bettors, especially people who are typical, like NFL bettors, where a 3 to 1's a massive underdog, right? Like
yeah,
they were going to see a Scotty Scheffler at 4.5, whatever, what is it, 9 to 2 or whatever in the golf terms or in betting terms. And we're like, oh, that's great value. But to us, when we're building cards like this, doing this each and every week, keeping our ROIs and all of that, we see that number like there's not a chance in the world I can touch that number. So yeah, again, in the golf betting community, we all are like-minded people. We're all looking for value. We're all have the same data at our fingertips. A lot of people use like certain engines to build their models. Some people build them on themselves. Like I build my own in Excel basically. But again, I'm using the same data that's available on some of these other entities that you can pay a paid service to build models for you and click on that, all that. I just do it myself for free. But yeah, we're all looking at the same exact data. The PGA Tour gives us data, strokes gain data, shot links data. It's all there that we're going to pull this information from and have the same exact stuff at our fingertips. It's just a matter of how you weight it. And, we talked about it. You need plus distance, you need a strong putter. only so many people are going to fit both those molds on the PGA Tour. Those are two skill sets that usually are polar opposites, right? Usually you're a strong
Yeah.
bomber without a putter. If you're a good putter, you don't have a long off the tee. Event like this going to be very similar across the board, left and right, no matter who you are or what you're doing. And again, books just give us value. We're going to find value where value is, and we're going to hammer it.
Yeah. No, that's
End
the
of rant,
beauty of
Jake.
it. Yeah, seriously. Sorry for derailing. But anyway, I've got two selections left here. The next guy is definitely going to be on the most tip board. This number's been absolutely steamed down by the time I woke up. This was my first click. It's Davis Riley, 170 to 1. He's probably down to like 120 if I had to take a guess or something crazy. But just playing some really awesome golf and fits this mold perfectly. Bomber off the tee, great putter. The approach play has been there. It's been teetering a little bit, but he's gained over a stroke per round in two of his last four, which is what I love to see on the approach for him. Some mixed bag results here, or sorry, here and in just general, but a T6 in Puerto Rico, a seventh at the Valspar, a T21 at the Masters. Just some great results as of recent for a guy who I believe he lost his PGA Tour card and then got it back, and that could be completely false. Yes, that is completely false. Ignore
I was gonna
that.
say
That is fake
he
news.
won the Zurich in 2023, so he at least had a 2 year exemption.
Yeah, and this guy, and he won the Chuck Schwab last year. I don't know what I'm talking about. Ignore that. Anyway, a ninth here in 2022, missed the cut in 2023, then a T30 last year. Playing some great golf. 170 is a huge number, and he just fits the mold. So I'm taking my shot.
Yeah, again, fits the mold of what we're talking about. It's a big number with plus value. We're gonna take it. We're gonna take it every day of the week.
Yep.
All right. So my final play here, I talked about a certain mold this entire podcast. So I'm gonna go away from that mold for my final play here. It's a 175. Nico Echevarria. What he does better than anyone else in the PGA Tour so far this season is putting. He is number one on tour in strokes game putting. And we talked about how important putting here this week at this Birdie Fest. Along the way, 48th in sand saves, he's 54th in proximal from 200 plus. He's 63rd in regulations. He's 64th birdie or better, 89th bogey avoidance, 104th par fives. You know, there are some red flags. 131st on approach, 150, 156 in average driving distance, 165 tee to green. The lack of driving distance does concern me a bit, but he is also above average in long irons. What I'm really hanging my hat on here is the fact that he is the lead or the tour's best putter with some good other stats along the way, some good form as of late as well. 20th at Zurich, he was 51st at the Masters, 32nd in Texas, 16th at the Valspar, and he placed 24th here a season ago as well. Again, doesn't fit the mold, but we see people exemption to the rules all the time, strictly playing this number at 175 to 1 because he's the tour's best putter.
Yeah, that's about all you could say about it, Nate. I mean, he had a T24 at this course last year too. I mean, it's not like he's played poorly here. That's something also to hang your hat on. But yeah, did not get there myself on Nico. But again, it's also cool to be, on a guy who's low tipped. If he's towards the top of the board, it's definitely cool to see your name all, pretty much solo, which I don't know how many people are going to tip him this week, but I can't imagine more than a handful.
Yeah, I haven't seen much on Nico. And again, we're talking about these models. We just had a 5 minute rant about it. It doesn't fit the model whatsoever, besides strong putter and some good long irons.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Jake, let's round this thing out here.
Yeah, my last guy here. I was excited to bet this guy. I was on him last week in the team event. It's Danny Walker, 250 to 1. That number is definitely big enough for me to take my shot. Plus distance off the tee. He's been hitting his irons awesome. I know that there were miscuts in the middle of his recent stretch of form, but the irons have stuck with him. Being that he's plus distance and has great irons, the putter hasn't been treating him too well, but it also hasn't been horrible. If he could spike with the putter, he has the game to be really to be successful here. He had a T6 at the Players, which is a big scary field. I talked about it last week, Nate. He was, a Monday qualifier due to someone withdrawing or something crazy and finished T6. In the team event, he finished T12 last week and had a T31 the week before that at the Punta Cana Championship. He just fits the mold, and I think the number is too big, and I'm taking my shot on him because I've been riding him the past couple of weeks too.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, realistically, anyone that's 100 to 1 or further down is worth a shot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's going to be some that are worth zero shot, but you can find a reason to almost back anyone at this big of a number. And again, when you're betting, you can always fit someone with a 250 to 1 in your betting card. You want to take a shot at a guy you've been on a few times. And this one actually just fits the mold.
Yeah, and this could be famous last words, but I saw a tweet that was like Andrew Novak has now made more money on the PGA Tour this season than Scotty Scheffler. So I mean, of course, every single time this guy tees it up, there's a chance that he just runs away and destroys the field. But Nate, we talked about it before the pod. I don't necessarily like a guy who's a crappy or a long-term crappy putter in a birdie fest. Like I'd rather Scotty in a challenging course where hitting the fairway and hitting greens in regulation is way more important than having to sink a ton of putts and keep up with all these birdies. So I'm sure it's going to be famous last words with
Yep.
with Scotty winning by a touchdown, but this feels like a week where 100 to 1 plays are certainly live.
Yeah, we know that Scotty is the best at minimizing mistakes. He doesn't get bogeys often, doesn't take himself out of golf events because of that. When he does miss, it's the wrong miss. If that makes sense to anyone as a golf better, you do know what I'm talking about here. Missing on the wrong side of the hole, giving yourself chances. But again, an event like this, you don't love Scotty Scheffler, to hang a minus 25 to minus 30. Again, he definitely can do that, and he's done that in years past at certain events. But also, these greens aren't like super undulating, things like that. So there's a chance that he just puts every approach shot within 5 foot of the hole. And historically speaking, Scotty Scheffler within 5 feet, you're like, this guy can miss this because it's Scotty Scheffler. But I think right now he's like top 50 on the tour in strokes gained putting as well. And I know a lot of it has to do with the Texas Children's Houston Open, where he had one of the best putting performances of his entire life as well. I think it's a little bit of a spike there that's kind of diluting that information a little bit. But I think this is us as hopeful golf bettors that Scotty Scheffler is. We're just trying to
Yeah,
talk ourselves into the fact that Scotty Scheffler isn't going to win this event when he very well will.
yeah, probably, sadly.
All right. Well, that's it for this week's podcast, guys. Again, next week we are back with a dual event. We have the Truist Championship at the Cricket Club of Philadelphia relocation from Quail Hollow because the following week the PGA Championship will be at Quail Hollow. So if you're a Quail Hollow fan, you're still getting that this season and just 1 week later. So a lot of that great stuff coming up. Myrtle Beach playing opposite of that as well. And I do love that Myrtle Beach event. I know the course isn't fantastic, but I just love the fact that the PGA Tour kind of honed into, like Myrtle Beach is like the golf capital of the United States, just
Yeah,
saturated with courses and like any guy's golf trip, like you end up in Myrtle Beach because you can throw a stone and hit a championship caliber golf course left and right. So I
yeah,
do love that location for the event because of what it is. And a lot of us can relate to going to Myrtle Beach and playing golf with the boys and all of that, or family vacations, and you and the, father-in-law or your dad go down and play around while, the girls or whatever go to the beach. Well, I'm not just saying for guys, but
yeah,
along the way, it just kind of have this kind of like homey feel to it, like from a family vacation. A lot of people, especially in the East Coast, have had that experience. So I do love that. And then, of course, the PJ Championship, second major of the season, is right around the corner, 2 weeks time. There's a strong chance I'll miss that podcast. So we do have some special guests lined up for that. In the event I am absent, I'll be on vacation myself. Speaking of that, looking forward to that. I think next week the DP World Tour is back for 1 week after off this week for the Turkish Open, Turkish Airlines Open. I forget exactly what it is, but they'll be in Turkey, which is going to be a pretty interesting event. I'm not sure the last time they were in Turkey on the DP World Tour. Live Golf plays this week. Corn Ferry, I think, is on this week.
yep,
A lot of stuff. LPGA is this week. So yeah, we'll be back next week with 3 events to talk about. And then it's another big one, the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow, one of the most historic golf courses the United States has to offer. But yeah, a lot of great stuff happening here. A lot of strong golf still to talk about for the rest of the season here. Episode 100, we'll keep going for 100 more, 200 more, 300 more. I'm here for the long run, and no Jake is as well.
yep.
So, Jake, where can you find you on social media?
Yep, you can find me at DJ Friedman on Twitter. Like I said before, I post my outright cards there. But if you're looking for any additional information to ask Nate or myself questions, a community of over, I think it's probably close to 300 at this point, if not more, people questions and just, pull the crowd. Like, again, I say it, all the time. People just toss a name in there and it'll spark a whole conversation and debate of, oh, I think this player is good at this course or has a chance this week or doesn't. And it's really informative. No fee whatsoever. You get in there, you get access to everything, a million channels. If there's something in there that you want to see that you don't already see, we're happy to make it for you. Even if one person is interested, we will do that for you, and we will make sure that we put content in there and make sure, you're getting exactly what you want. I'm calling it the People's Discord now, Nate, because we're willing to do anything here. But again, reach out to Nate or myself on Twitter or any way that you can, and we will be sure to add you there.
Yeah, for sure. A free tool at your fingertips. Again, probably close to 300 people at this point. Just a community, and most Mondays and Tuesdays, like you said, someone comes in and they're like, "What do you think of Taylor Pendrith this week?" Just for example, and then a debate will spark. Oh, I don't like Taylor Pendrith because of this, and someone like, "Oh no, I love Taylor Pendrith because of that." It's a great tool to have. A lot of information in there, and a lot of informative people. So be sure to hop in there. You can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at WKFNate. Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Be sure to visit We Know Fantasy.com for some more fantasy sports content. Until next time, guys.